Welcome to Building the Future. I'm your host, Kevin Horick. You can check out new episodes of the show every Tuesday and Thursday at 2 p.m. If you missed an episode or want to get more information about the show, please visit buildingthefutureshow.com. Welcome back to the show. Today we have Meaghans, Lynch, and Adam Francis from TE Connectivity. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Adam.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you guys on the show. Meaghans, when you kind of originally connected online, I thought what you guys were doing at kind of TE was kind of really innovative and really kind of impressive for kind of recruiting millennials and kind of just in general how you guys run the company kind of on a global scale. But maybe before we kind of get into exactly what TE is and what you guys do, let's maybe get to know each one of you a little bit better. So Meaghans, do you maybe want to start off with kind of giving a bit of a background on yourself?
Sure. I'm originally from Randolph, New Jersey, and I graduated from Susquehanna University in 2014, majoring in public relations and business administration. And from there, I began my career journey at TE, and I've been there ever since. So it's been an awesome 3 years.
Great. And Adam?
Yes, so I actually grew up moving up and down the East Coast, so most of my time spent in the Southeast, but ended up in high school in New Jersey. So went to college at Lehigh University in Pennsylvania, graduated in 2013 with graduated with a bachelor's in material science and engineering in 2013, and have been with TE ever since, graduating from there as well.
Oh, very cool. So that's interesting. Okay, so Adam, what exactly is TE and what do you guys kind of do?
Sure. Yeah, so TE is actually commonly, we like to refer to it as the largest company that a lot of people have never heard of.
Sure.
So we have about 75,000 employees around the world.
Wow.
And we serve several markets, and those markets are really identified by our business units. And so with our business units, we go to our customers, and what we actually make are connectors, cables, and sensors for several different applications. It's pretty interesting that although many people have not heard of us, most people use our products every day because we are in so many different industries and so many different products. We're really driving a lot of technology that is becoming new at your fingertips. So it's a pretty exciting time, and it's exciting to see the different products that we continue to drive throughout the industries.
Sure. So can you give me some examples of products that maybe people use every day that they would have no idea are TE products?
Sure. So I'm with our automotive division, and one of our products, as an example, is actually a safety device that sits in your car. And when an airbag deploys, the airbag has different physical properties depending on who's sitting in the car. Your position, your weight, all of that information is then communicated to the airbag as to how to deploy and when to deploy, depending on how fast a car may be going when it does deploy, because that different force could have different interaction with the particular person. So a 200-pound man and a 100-pound woman will have different forces hitting them in the airbag to safely protect them from hitting the dash or the steering wheel. So that sensor and that system that identifies the person is then sending that information throughout the vehicle as well.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, like super important, right? Obviously.
Right, exactly. A lot of our products are in can't-fail situations. So when we're making them, and they really sit in harsh environments as well. And by harsh environments, I mean that we're not plugging something in and it's staying there. While it's plugged in, it may be a lot of vibration. There may be some dirt or different corrosion that may be trying to impact that signal. And in that situation, because it is so important in several of our other applications, we really need to make sure that they aren't failing and that they're successful at any time that they are needed.
Sure. So for people that maybe have never heard of TE, what other kind of industries are you guys kind of in if they're looking for maybe a career at TE?
So I mentioned our business units before, serving several different industries, and I mentioned that I'm with our automotive group.
Yeah.
We have three different segments, and within the Transportation Solutions group, not only is there automotive, but there's also industrial and commercial transportation, so dealing with larger equipment.
Okay.
There's also sensor solutions, which is a fairly new addition to TE that's really taking over a lot of different industries. We also have our industrial solutions segment. So they cover medical, industrial solutions, energy, and also aerospace, defense, and marine situations. And then finally, our communication solutions segment, which covers appliances, and our final business unit, data and devices. Also, we have, in addition to that, a business unit that's focused on subsea communications too. So a lot of different industries, a lot of different customers, a lot of different products. So there's really a lot of opportunity, and depending on what market you want to be in, you can really be able to be on the forefront of that impact with the technology that we're continuously developing.
Sure. And you mentioned you guys kind of have global offices. Is there kind of like, just do you want to maybe name some big countries that you guys are in?
Sure. So obviously we're in the United States, but then also we have a very heavy presence in Mexico and Brazil. Those are really our larger countries within the Americas. And then when we start heading east, we're in several different countries in Europe with different manufacturing locations, different offices. We do have some a location in Africa as well.
Oh, very cool.
And then as we continue to move even further east, we're in India, China, Thailand, we're in Japan. So it's really when we say global company, it's hard to find somewhere where it's daytime and someone isn't on, a TE employee isn't there too. So it's pretty cool to be able to see how, as the clock spins, there's always something that can be accomplished, some other work that's being done somewhere on the other part of the globe.
No, that's great. So, question for you then, Meaghan, what exactly is your role at TE?
So I work in, and I'm recently new to this new role.
Okay.
I work in employment marketing on our global talent acquisition team.
Okay.
So I'm 5 months in, and I am loving every second of it.
That's awesome. That's great.
Essentially we're looking to attract and engage the world's best talent. So our projects are very data-driven, dynamic, and consist of intelligent, digital marketing type strategies.
Sure. No, that's great. And I think one of the things that really appealed to me about having you guys and TE on the show is you guys are spending a lot of time and effort to actually recruit and kind of bring in millennials and other people across kind of all different kind of age ranges into kind of a company. But I think you guys are obviously a global company like we just talked about, but you guys kind of, I think, are very much innovative in the way you guys kind of try to recruit younger people in, and then kind of also kind of move people around throughout, maybe different areas or different geographical locations, just so, they can maybe try things or learn new things or understand where other people that they're working with come from. Do you guys maybe want to elaborate a little bit more on kind of that and give kind of a better overview of exactly kind of how you guys are doing that kind of, innovative, kind of modern, kind of big global company?
Sure. Yeah. So it's really an amazing opportunity that millennials have. One of the big things is our rotational programs, and it allows us to look into different facets of the way TE operates. So rotating around different industries, getting to work with different business leaders, it's a really rewarding program for us. And so for me in particular, I worked in distribution channel customer care, and I applied for a rotational program internally. And I know they each vary, so I know Adam will have a different perspective on his.
Sure.
But depending on the function of the business, it's a 15-week, or mine was a 15-week series of rotations. And it's really interesting how you can apply your previous experiences and learnings to each role, as they might be new and fresh, but there's always the internal resources and programs you can leverage across different roles.
Sure. No, that makes a lot of sense. And Adam, do you maybe want to talk about your experience with the program?
Sure. So the program that I was in was a supply chain rotation program. And I mentioned earlier, I have an engineering degree, but I'm in supply chain now. And I was able to get in supply chain with some of the classes that I had taken in school. But when I got into the rotation program, that's really where I was able to take the day-to-day learnings and really be able to push it even further. So the 2-year program had 4 different jobs, each lasting 6 months. And within those rotations, we had the ability to move as well. So I've spent 1 year in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, doing procurement roles at a corporate level and then within one of our business units. Did 6 months that was in Berlin, where we had a finance rotation, and then finally I did a rotation down in Hermosillo, Mexico, which is south of Arizona, helping launch a new plant facility there too. So getting a lot of different experiences and seeing different depths and levels of the company was really a great experience especially just entering a company that can seem pretty large to people from the outside.
Sure. I think the interesting thing, and me personally, I think one of the best things that I ever did was kind of just travel when I was younger, right? And I think part of the scary part, at least from my perspective and people that I've known, the reason a lot of people don't do it is because they don't have a job to go to. And I think the thing that was really kind of interesting to me about kind of TE when Meaghan first her and I started talking was, you guys could basically send people globally, and it sounds like, Adam, you've had that experience, right? And I think it almost like the destination might not necessarily matter, but just kind of moving away for a period of time, even if it's just for like a month, and just experiencing something new and a different culture, I think is very beneficial for not only the company, but I think like personal and individual growth.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, that's great. So I'm kind of curious to know, Meaghan, like obviously you're a bit younger than kind of myself and whatnot. I'm curious to know, as kind of a millennial, how that, I guess, like, do you kind of agree with that statement, or how does kind of being able to kind of move around and kind of work in different things really kind of appeal to you and get you kind of excited about coming to work every day?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So the opportunity to travel, like you said, is huge. And it's not just, in sales, it was meeting customers, but in my current role, we're attending conferences. We're going to, around the world for development opportunities and trainings. So there's a lot of things that motivate us. I think it's interesting if you look at the different generations. People say, boomers live to work, Xers work to live, and millennials live and then work. And for that reason, the work-life balance vision, millennials can be misconstrued sometimes and seen as lazy and unmotivated, but really we're just motivated by different types of things. And I personally feel that flexibility to work from home is it's great for the modern workplace. Our employee resource groups, mentor program, like you said, global reach. So jumping on a telepresence with employees around the world, and just the fact that we're an innovative technology leader. So we can be part of something larger than ourselves. And look to the future of technology.
Sure. I think the other thing that's interesting too that I've found, and it sounds like you have the same experience, is you guys get to interact with people, maybe like obviously across North America, but in other countries. And when you're having these conversations about a new product idea or thought, at least one of the best experience I ever had was when I was in a room with a bunch of other designers from kind of different parts of the world, and we had to present designs every week, and we had to go around and say, this means this in the country that I'm from, and this means this to me, and that means that to me. And that always was so interesting to me, to just get other people's opinions from different countries on the same kind of product or design or whatever it is. And that to me was always kind of fascinating. And the example that I always go to is you take the American flag, like red, white, and blue. Obviously in North America, people are like, oh, that's America. But if you go to parts of Europe, they might be like, that's the color of the French flag, right? And you're like, oh, I never would have kind of thought that. I always thought red, white, and blue to everybody on the planet would probably be American, whereas in certain parts of the world, they would probably go to the French flag over the American flag. And I always thought that was kind of interesting. And so I think just having the ability, kind of whatever age you are, to be able to kind of have these conversations with people from kind of different parts of the world can be very educational in itself.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's important for employers to recognize that. TE recognizes that, it's appealed and to attract and retain employees.
Sure. So,
That's the manpower and planning.
no, I 100% agree. So, Adam, you're the Young Professionals. What exactly is the Young Professionals Employee Resource Group at TE?
Sure. Yeah. So as we are a very large company, you alluded to some of the benefits. You get to see a lot of different aspects, a lot of different opinions for people that are from different parts of the country or parts of the world So you get to see how does everyone think, and we kind of take that and take it to a next level. We as in TE with the employee resource groups. So we have several different employee resource groups that are there to help foster different communication, foster learning of different people. So I'm the chair of the TE Young Professionals Group, which has obviously mainly a focus on young professionals, those that are entering the workforce in the millennial population. But it's not limited to only millennials. The purpose is to be able to speak about millennials and the young professionals. So as we are working day to day with managers or directors, presidents that are older than us or from a different generation, grew up seeing different things, have different experiences, young professionals have different experiences and different values to add too, within the technical world. So we have some different programs that we have to help foster that information, that learning. So, with the Young Professionals Group, as it's grown over the past year and a half, what we really aim to do is to be able to, again, foster those communications across the globe too. You mentioned the speaking about different designs. One of the programs that we just hosted a couple of months ago was a global view of networking.
Oh, interesting.
How do I network in the United States versus how do I network in Germany versus how do I network in Morocco, and learning the different customs, learning what's appropriate to speak about when you're trying to meet someone and make a good impression. So, it's really not only do we have that movement location, but for those that aren't moving or want to stay where they are, they still have access to a lot of different resources to learn about the different cultures and learn about different people that they may never meet face to face, but at least they'll be able to make a connection with them as well.
Sure. And Meaghan, what's your involvement with the Young Professionals Group?
So I joined TE Young Professionals within the professional development pillar.
Okay.
As a chapter co-lead. And a lot of the projects around, spearheading initiatives and events pertaining to growing and developing your career through networking opportunities and executive presence. And that's exactly what it was. But, as I got more deep into it, I learned that there's so much more value to what these organizations provide. And, the shortest way, I guess, to explain that is it's the sense of community you feel in relation to others who might even be going through similar work challenges. Sometimes you find, an unexpected overlap with others in their typical day-to-day work activities. And I've witnessed that, going for happy hours after a session and coming up with a solution to a business challenge or need. We might have two electrical engineers that work in different industries, but put their heads together and, we have a whole new solution. So those types of things that I really think are most valuable to it. And, also trips, the opportunity to go on. I just went on a recent trip to our TE SOCOM division, visiting one of our 150-meter vessels docked in Baltimore, packed full of undersea communication cable systems and fiber optic technology, which is a really neat experience. We toured the vessel. We learned how TE's leading the industry in subsea cable installation repair. We met the captain, and it's just, the opportunity to view the products in a cool and interactive way, which is an attractive feature to millennials, because millennials want to be part of something bigger, and that's the definition of TE. Our products are within these large applications and technologies that are changing, the world.
Sure. No, I think that's really great and kind of fascinating. So I'm curious to know, how are you guys kind of going about kind of recruiting people to come work for TE? Because you kind of mentioned earlier that a lot of people haven't maybe heard of TE, but they use them every day. And so how are you guys kind of using, your kind of either one of your roles to kind of bring in new people and kind of keep it fresh and make sure that, people have actually applied to come work for you guys?
Well, yeah, I can talk to that. Working within our global talent acquisition team, we try to stay close to the social trends. So what is resonating, with the candidates? Where are the places they're talking about? How can we leverage SEO as much as possible? And also, how do we, not only build relationships, but nurture them? So, looking into nurture programs to continue building out our talent communities, continuing the life cycle. We manage our media relations and, fully utilizing our job boards. And, one of the interesting things that, being new to my role that I've recognized is a value to employees is developing team collaboration sessions, internal strategies for our team to challenge each other, and they're really just continuous improvement type projects.
Sure. And Adam, do you have anything to add to that?
Yes, yeah, I think that we just spoke about the young professionals group, and not only did Meaghans talk about how we're reaching out, we're trying to attract different millennials, people coming out of university. We TE sometimes need to look at ourselves in the mirror and say, how do we make ourselves more attractive? And something that we've done with the young professionals group is now that we have this large membership base and we have this plethora of information and opinions that we can use to really change how TE operates. Last year, we sent out a survey to say, what is important to you? What are some of the main topics that you want us to be able to speak for you? Not only is the Young Professionals Employee Resource Group an opportunity to foster different communications and how we're going to learn and how we're going to meet different people, it's also how different information that we can send back to our leadership teams, our TE's leadership teams. We want to see this change. We believe that this is something that, if implemented, will give us a strategic advantage as a company when recruiting millennials or people coming out of university as well. So I think that not only is there a combination of making sure we're reaching out, but also changing how we operate day to day and becoming more flexible, which I think is more geared towards a millennial population and millennial attitude. That'll really give us an advantage when going out and trying to say, TE, this is why you want to work for us, rather than some of the other options that may be on the table.
Sure. No, that makes sense. Anything else to add to that, Meaghan? Or?
Yeah. So another big focus is inclusion and diversity. And actually, this is the perfect timing for it. We're dedicating the entire month of May to I&D to celebrate the power of our inclusive workforce. And what that means is, making sure that employees feel included, valued, respected, and in doing that, it helps to, build or foster our innovation. All the types of I&D efforts that we look to. So a lot of it goes along with, the ERGs, our employee resource group, but we also have a big emphasis on STEM education, which is, commitment to all education levels to help inspire student engineers to gain confidence in their skills and just recognize, their interests in STEM-related fields. Just to take a step back, STEM refers to science, technology, engineering, and mathematics.
No, that's great. I think that's super important, and it seems to be a lot more companies are really starting to care and make a huge effort to actually put that out there and bring people in more and kind of promote that and try to do that. So I love that. I think that's great. But you guys also spend a lot of time mentoring. Do you guys maybe want to cover how do you guys kind of do your mentoring? I think it's kind of different than a lot of companies. And Meaghan, do you maybe want to start off with that?
Yeah, sure, I can start. So we have reverse mentoring programs offered at TE, and they allow millennials to learn about, what it means to be a true contributor to TE and advice for career development straight from our leaders. But then the reverse part of it is that we help, our millennial generations help to share some of our digital knowledge on internal tools back to those leaders. So it's really just a win-win for both our generations based on, our type of strengths and competencies.
Sure. Adam, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think that the environment that when we walk into TE every day is, I don't feel a direct intimidation from someone that's a leader, someone that's an executive within the company. Obviously, I have an immense amount of respect for them. I also feel that I can go and approach them and say, this is the current situation I'm facing. How do I act upon it? What should I do? What have you done in situations similar to this? So that mentorship, there sometimes are formal mentorships. There's sometimes kind of we connect when we can. That opportunity is constantly there, and I think that really speaks towards the leadership of the company and the environment that we really are able to work in, because we don't feel that hesitation when I say I have a particular problem, whether it's with my current role or whether it's with the young professionals group, to be able to go and say, how would you act upon this within this situation? And that's really a really good learning opportunity there too.
No, I think that's great, and I love that. And so I'm kind of curious to get both of your guys' thoughts on something that I think a lot of big companies or even small companies that struggle with is, obviously, even the three of us are in totally different geographic locations. How do you guys, or what have you guys found to work really well for you guys, maybe on the tool side or not the tool side, to actually have conversations or, use kind of technology to communicate with people kind of globally? Have you found email works really well, video chat, a combination of both? Is there anything that either one of you have really found that works that you could almost give advice to anybody that's kind of looking to work with people in different geographical locations? Meaghan, do you maybe want to start out with that?
Yeah, sure. So I think it's really important if you can get that face-to-face interaction, because we have the opportunity to travel. When we are traveling, finding that time to meet with those individuals, or, telepresence, just sitting in it on a telepresence room, and still getting the face-to-face, even though you'll be miles apart. So those have been, I think the biggest, impact for me is finding the time and setting that time up to make sure that you can get that type of interaction. But, we have so many different options, which is the good thing. And, we have OneNotes and OneDrive where we can share content and collaborate constantly, at our fingertips.
Sure. Adam, any thoughts?
Yeah, I think that Meaghan really touched on it well with just the technology that we have. Definitely helps that fostering of a relationship. Couldn't agree more that the face-to-face interaction, whether it's once or several times, really helps the bar and make that connection. But when we use the technology that we have, the millennial population grew up with AOL Instant Messenger.
Sure, yeah.
And now that AOL Messenger has become Skype for Business. And once you have that connection, it's fairly easy to really be able to continue that connection, continue that discussion. And then over time, making sure that you're using that technology, whether it's telepresence, Skype, or email, to continue to push that relationship and make sure that it's still there, because you never know when you'll need that relationship, whether it's in a week or in a year, because there's always situations that you may not know what to do, and you can really take advantage of other people's experience too.
You meet somebody face to face, and in either one of your guys' experience, should you kind of try to meet face to face, like maybe somebody that you deal with maybe on a daily or weekly basis? Not everybody, but would you say that quarterly is enough, a couple times a year is enough, once a year, or does it really not matter?
Honestly, I feel like I am always working so closely. It feels like they're next to me. It really doesn't, to me, matter.
Okay.
And I think the communication that we have is so strong that, we don't have that barrier as much. We're in constant communication. We find the best ways to work with each other individually, or, just the types of ways that work best for us together? How do we best collaborate?
Sure.
So, to me, honestly, I don't think it would really matter.
Okay. Adam?
Yeah, I think that obviously there sometimes are limitations just based off of schedules or ability to travel. So in a perfect world, I think at least at once, face-to-face meeting is really imperative, and it's not a make or break deal, but it really does help. As long as you continue to work with that person, similar to Meaghan, it feels like you're sitting right next to him, and you know that personal connection already. And I think that one next step, though, that will help is help that connection and continue to know more people, whether it's that initial relationship you make or a colleague of that relationship that you made previously. If you can push to go and travel and go see people, because things change, their working environment may change, what they're working on may change. You can then go and continue to learn more about that person too. So I think the more opportunities that you have, I think you should go for it. But it's not going to limit you from being able to continue to work alongside with someone, especially with, again, the technology that we have available today.
Sure. No, I totally agree. That makes a lot of sense. Do you guys kind of have like a annual or conference that is maybe by geographic location where a bunch of you go like once or twice yearly, or do you guys do anything like that at TE?
Yeah, it really happens at different levels. So when I was in the rotation program, what they would do every 6 months was rotation week. And they'd bring in all the rotation associates from the United States and Mexico to be able to meet together. One is creating that networking opportunity. We're also there for training as well, so developing ourselves, and then finally reviewing what we've done. So giving a presentation on, this is my assignment, this is what I was able to accomplish, and this is the impact that I had. That really not only helped foster a lot of friendships that I have today, but then also look to see what is everyone else working on? What is that different business unit doing? So that was from the entry into the workforce. That's an opportunity that we had there. Obviously, there's different sales conferences and functional conferences that several different business units will hold. Then at a leadership level, we have what is called the Global Leadership Meeting. So that is a leadership meeting where all of the several representatives from each of the business units go and meet in one different location somewhere in the world to really talk about, this is what our strategy is. These are some of the techniques that we're using, whether it's from a development perspective or a market disruption perspective. Really being able to compare notes and compare across different business units, because although we are one TE, a lot of the time, because we're in different industries, we do stuff differently just by nature. So it's interesting to be able to see that not only at an entry level, but then at a leadership level, there are those opportunities to pause, go and meet with different colleagues, your different potentially mentors, and really be able to see how can we use how another tool or how is another business unit operating, and how can I bring that back to where I work today.
Sure. No, I think that's great. And Meaghan, do you have any thoughts or experiences with any of that?
Yeah, I think it's interesting that you have the International Women's Day, or you have international days that happen, and around different cultures, people are all celebrating at the same time. So it really makes you feel connected to the community. So, hopefully if you get the chance to travel, to meet with people that you work with directly, but also just sharing those opportunities to celebrate something that's going on globally, just that global touch and feel, which is really, really helpful in this organization.
Sure. No, I think that's great. And that I love that. And I think it's always interesting to meet face to face with people that you kind of work with or from other parts of the world, even if it is only for a few days at a conference or something. So it's cool that you guys kind of do that stuff as well. But sadly, we're coming to the end of the show. So maybe let's close with mentioning where people can get more information about TE. And if either one of you want to mention maybe a personal social networking handle or site or something that people can maybe get a little bit more information about either one of you. And Meaghan, maybe do you want to start first?
Sure. So definitely starting off with te.com, where you can find most of our information on our industry, solutions, products, careers, but also going on or hashtagging or following our hashtag Life at TE. and you can find all the content that we're sharing. We have social channels, so at TE Connectivity, so on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and, we encourage people to just reach out whenever, there's always a way to connect on our webpage to someone directly.
Perfect. Adam, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think that along with the different social platforms that we have from TE perspective on LinkedIn, we really do to post not only what are we working on TE, but then also what are we doing, whether it's within the community or how we're interacting or different networking events too. So those are really the best opportunities to really see and look into what is TE really about.
Perfect, guys. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to be on the show, and I look forward to keeping in touch with you guys, and have a good rest of your day.
Thank you for having us, Kevin.
Thanks, guys. We'll talk soon. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. The music for the show was done by Electric Mantra. You can check them out at electricmantra.com and keep building the future.